This policy was submitted actually to all the 5 regions. It's the version that I have here, I think actually is the best one, so it's the latest one. I modify it. In fact, the text that we have in the other regions basically is what failed to reach consensus in the previous AFRINIC meeting. And there is one exception, which is aiding, because they have a completely different process, and I understood from them just a few minutes ago that it passed the last call, and it's right now pending for the trustees board ratification. So it should happen probably in a matter of weeks. So that will be the only region which right now has got consensus. So let me try. I have in all my presentations today, I have all the text of the policy proposal, but I am not going to read that. I am going to go to the main points, otherwise we spend 2 days. So I am expecting that if you have some explicit question, you can go to the website and look for the text that again is the same I have in my slides. And in the case of this concrete policy proposal, the thing is that when we drafted the IPv6 PI policies, which basically have been the same in all the regions, we didn't consider a situation that is very common in IPv4 when you are using part of your addresses for point-to-point links or VPNs. So you are actually supersigning addresses to third parties, okay? In IPv4, most of the time, especially for VPNs, not so common for point-to-point links, but for VPNs, if you are going to give VPNs to your employees, or your employees are using your infrastructure as a guest of the wireless network, for example, because they are behind a NAT, this is not a problem. So that's the reason we have not seen most of the time this problem in the case of IPv4. There is another situation which is becoming more common in IPv6, is that sometimes devices, instead of getting a single address, will get a /64. For example, that's the case in the cellular networks for a cellular phone, okay? Every PDP context gets a /64. But this is common also in other networks, where more and more we have devices that can run virtual machines, and that means that you need more than one address for a device, and typically you will give the device a /64 so he can manage at their own pace what are their needs. Another situation is, I somehow described it already, if you have a university and you have students or teachers coming with their own devices, what we call today bring your own device, they will be using IPv6 addresses. And if that university or that enterprise is getting from AFRINIC IPv6 PI space, the policy forbids that. So we are all breaking the policy right now, okay? So there is one more case, which is you have a company providing, and this is an example only, a company providing a surveillance service with IP cameras. Oh, sorry, I am changing the slides in my laptop and not here, yeah. Okay, so that was my first slide, I think I covered it. So the next case is, for example, you have a surveillance company offering surveillance in your buildings, in your university, in your enterprise, and of course, you are giving them addresses from your allocation, okay? So again, there is a limit in the policy where it's not really clear if you can allocate those addresses because it's a third party, okay? Finally, what I mentioned before about the /64s, there is one new document from IETF that facilitates that. So that was possible already before, but now we have a new protocol, a new standard that says, hey, if you have virtual machines or whatever in a data center, instead of giving to each interface a single address, give to each interface a /64. So again, it's not just a matter of a single address, sometimes it may be a matter of more than one address or more than one prefix. You can also use prefix delegation, the ipv6 prefix delegation, that was already available before, but typically that's used for customers of an ISP, not within a data center or in other situations. So again, the actual text in section 2.6 explicitly prohibits such assignments, stating that assignments are not to be subassigned to other parties. And again, a student, a teacher, an employee, a visitor in a hotspot, all them are third parties. And in fact, the devices are not from your company, are from a third party owner, okay? So we have two choices here. We can ask end users to make sure that they correctly use the policy and enforce it. And because universities will not be able to enforce it, reclaim the resources, for example, which is stupid, or we can correct our mistake in the policy, which is the right thing in my opinion, and that's why I am proposing this. Again, I am forgetting to click here. So, yeah, okay, thank you. So we have the two choices I just mentioned. Either we make sure that we follow the policy, or we amend the policy to have it updated to the actual reality, okay? And I think that's what we should do. You can switch to the next one. So basically what I am doing is considering all these situations and saying, let's take the actual policy, whatever text is there. I don't change the way we allocate ipv6 PI, that was changed already in the previous meeting. We just keep that text, but we add a new section clarifying that situation. So, here is what we have. On the slide, on your left, you have the section that I am trying to amend, is section 6.8. Again, I am not changing the text that we have already there, but we just add a new text after what we have right now. And the new text says it is allowed to use the assigned addresses for the assignment holder network, which is obvious, okay? So you have got an assignment and it's for your network, that's clear. Third-party devices operating within your network, so that covers all the cases, a student coming, a teacher, a guest, an employee. It covers also the cases of somebody bringing a surveillance device to your network, etc., etc. And also interconnections, which cover the case for VPNs, using addresses for connecting to other networks, etc. So I think with this text, which is much simple to interpret than the previous version I had, because basically I think I failed to make a text that was easy to read, and that was the reason it didn't reach consensus. We solved the situation, and I asked the staff just to make sure if their interpretation of the actual policy covers the case for data centers, and they said no, a data center must be an LIR. Okay, so just to make sure that there is no discrepancies on the interpretation on that, I am saying again that a subassignment, or it will be considered a subassignment and consequently is not allowed, which is the same situation as per today. I just reinforcing that to use the assigned addresses for providing services like ISPs or data centers. Of course, if you are a company and you have your own data center, that's perfect. What we are meaning here is data centers as a server to third parties. Next one. So similar proposal is being discussed in AFRINIC, LACNIC, and RIPE. I already said that. It's already progressing in AIRIN, and I think it's my last slide. The reason I sent an update, it was about 10 or 11 days ago, or maybe even more, I don't remember right now, was because I got the staff assessment, and what they were telling me basically is, hey, we just suggest to remove a comma because that facilitates the interpretation, and I updated that, and I think it's done. Yeah. So questions, or do you want to say something about the staff assessment, Ernest?
Okay. Yes, we assessed the proposal and we basically did not have any comments or any concerns. And there was just one issue regarding a comma, which was in one of the clauses, which the author agreed that can be removed, because the comma seemed to change the meaning of the sentence, but it was removed. And regarding implementation, the proposal can be implemented without any issues and within the stipulated timeline, just by updating a few internal guidelines, and that's all. Thank you.
Okay, so microphones are now open for questions and comments.
No, it's okay from here. Yeah. Maybe you want to put the slide with the text. So in case of questions, we can. Yeah. Thank you.
So Alain, you have the floor.
Yeah, Alain Wakren again. So my question, okay, it's not a question per se, but just to emphasize something I said earlier, because Jordi just mentioned that RFC 8237 has been adopted. So this brought me again to my point that BCPs will be getting BCP from ITF, from other things, when we have a policy. Sometimes some of the ITF things can impact a policy. Okay, how we distribute. So in the meantime, from the RFC being accepted at ITF and probably updating our policy, how do we do in the meantime? That's where I said that we should take in account all these BCPs, etc. So it's because we may not be following ITF and every BCP or every standard, we should run and amend the policy. So
you basically agree with the policy, I guess?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alain. Alan, please.
Yeah, this is Alan Barrett. Hi. Just a little question about how the new text will be numbered. In your proposal, you say add it to the end of 6.8. Does that mean create a new subsection called 685? Or?
A new paragraph. Well, a new, just put that text at the end of the existing text in section 6.8.
Well, 6.8 ends with 6.8.4, or do you mean between 6.8 and 6.1?
Exactly, that's it.
So after 6.8.4
Yeah.
to put
after
this new
actual
text
of 6.8, not 6.8 something else. Yeah, you say it correctly, Alan.
I'm still confused. I'm sorry.
No, it's not a new section. It's right after the existing text in number 6.8.
Okay, so the existing text in number 6.8 says, this policy is aimed at providing IPv6 address space to end sites.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's it. After that, this text.
Okay, thank you.
Very simple. Thank you. No, it's not working? Yeah. I think it doesn't matter if you put before the actual text of after, but because I didn't got that assessment. I didn't saw it. So it doesn't matter if it goes before or after the sentence that Alan did, but I think it's easier to read if you put after. That's why I said at the end of the section 6.8.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Abdelhakim Chattawi. I'm for the SP of Ministry of Higher Education. My question is, I think we we must put a limit to this third-party delegation of addresses. We put this delegation to resolve some problem like VPNs, like third-party. But if if we take it without limit of mask si on ne limite pas ça pour de cas d'utilisation, ça sera donc I'm so sorry because I cannot speak very well English, but I think there are some limit to this third-party delegation of addresses. If it take it without limit, it have some problem with in the future of transfer of addresses.
If you read the last paragraph, I think it's in the screen, that's the limit. The limit is if you have visitors in your guest network, it's okay. If you have students, it's okay. But what is not okay is that you use that to provide services to others. I think that's a very clear limit.
Okay, I think I see his concern is third-party devices might be extended beyond what we know today, right? But I think the other part that says operating within the
exactly.
infrastructure, that kind of closes it down a bit. Okay, in the absence of any other questions or comments, thank you, Jordi.
Stay here or?
No, you can have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this policy proposal has been discussed, it's been refined, language has been changed to deal with some ambiguity, and as is, there does not seem to be any objection to moving this forward. So co-chairs have decided that it proceeds into a last call period of 2 weeks on the mailing list, during which comments and contributions can be taken.